And my wife and I had given a little bit of thought to it, but honestly, like to get certified, it's like we live busy lives. Like I don't have, 8 Saturdays to give up to get certified. I've got 4 kids. Doesn't that certify me? They're all alive. That's pretty good. One of them by the grace of God, but it's a different story. Anyway, so in March of 2020, 2 things happened which led us into foster care. One is that's when COVID hit. And then the other was a conversation with our daughter. And she had just graduated from high school. Just graduated from college and was living in Charleston and teaching. And we were just walking along the street one day, and I don't even know why we're talking about this, but she said, I think you and Mom would be really good foster parents. And to hear that from your kid, it's like, whew, that's pretty powerful. And so that, and then the fact that they moved it all online also made it really easy. And so we did our training online and, on Zoom and whatnot and got certified and all that type of stuff. So that's how we entered into foster care. We are a foster-only family. We're not interested in adopting. We feel like God's call for us is to be that in-between between when a kid is removed from his family or her family and either reunited or goes to a forever home. And so we have stood in that space with, I think, 12 different kids, some single, so to speak, and then more recently it's all been families of 2 or 3 kids. So we got involved in 2020, and then Greg started to put together the care communities. And so we were doing it kind of a little haphazardly as a church, but then when that came along, we began to kind of formalize with care communities and things like that. And now we as a church are all in. We've got, I think, 12 different foster families. We do a couple different things to support them, to encourage foster care and so forth, but we'll get into kind of specifics. But that's our story, that the church kind of went first, and then we joined, and then it's become pretty formalized since then.
Wonderful.
So, yep.
Josh?
Yeah. Well, great to be here today. Am I on?
Yeah.
You guys can hear me? Before I share, I just want to say how grateful I am to be here with all of you. As pastors, we get to go to different conferences and so forth, but this really is my favorite gathering. Just you all are superheroes, and just grateful for what you do and for being here today. Very similar to what Matt just shared, actually. At our church, there were a handful that my wife and I knew were engaged in foster adoptive kinship care, specifically our good friends Pam and Joe Humchenko, who worked with Children's Home Society. They had fostered to adopt 4 children over the years. So we were just friends with them and had an up close kind of seat to their journey, and which is a great way to learn, just being friends with people in this space. And then our friends Tanner and Nikki Smith, who are right there. What's up, guys? So they were involved. Pam and Joe Kaler. Pam has been a speaker at the summit. She was the most recent foster care ombudsman, part of our church. And then Chad and Kristen Hurley. So there was, I would say, a few years where we were just friends with people, and you learn just through friendship and relationship. I can remember many Sundays just watching, these different families roll in. It's like they have another child this week, or another two more kids this week, and it was just inspiring, but also it gave us an opportunity to ask a lot of questions and learn. So that was kind of beneath the surface, and there were other families in the church as well. And then our friend Mrs. Lynn Johnson came, and she just described that experience, and God really moved in our hearts that night. Our founding pastor, Tim Herring, and I were there, and in all honesty, I went because Steve Finn asked me. I knew there was going to be good food, and I heard someone from the president's administration was going to be there, so I'm like, I got to go. I had no idea what God was going to do that night, and I really, and I say this with all sincerity, I feel like the Lord really did just grab a hold of my heart in that place that night, and I didn't know what it meant to go all in, but I knew something happened in my heart. That was a Thursday. We're off on Fridays at the church. Pastor Tim and I and a few others met that very next Monday and said, what does this mean for us? And then fast forward to January of 21, we officially launched the ministry. We call it Foster West Virginia in Morgantown. And then I had a feeling, I'm like, if we're launching this ministry, we're probably going to jump in. And it was, I believe, May of 21, we began our classes, which were also online. Shout out online classes. It was great.
Hey, and just to be clear, we pay really close attention online. We never
The
multitask.
whole time.
We never.
The whole
ever.
time.
We're not texting while you're talking. We're dialed in.
And then we began to welcome children. I believe it was December of 2021, and we've had 8 placements since then, as well as some respite in between. So that's kind of been our journey in a nutshell. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Can you, Josh? I'm taking over your job.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're fired.
It's your stage.
That's right.
Gosh.
Share. I shared about my daughter's comments. Would you share what your daughter said? I love that.
I made that up last night, actually. No, I'm kidding.
It's a great story. Make it up again.
Pastors are known for, like, the fish was this big. No. So I'll share this in all humility. Please know, just for context. So our founding pastor, Tim Hearing, we had a succession plan over the last 4 or 5 years. We just completed that succession plan last October. So we had a big celebration service for him and then an installation service for myself. I believe it was the Sunday after, so it would have been early October of this past year. My daughter drove home with me from church. And just as we're driving home, she was 13 at the time. She's now 14. And she, in like a 13-year-old way, she's like, "Dad, I'm so proud of you. And like, this is so cool." And I'm like, "This is my 13-year-old daughter? Like, this is awesome." And then she said, she said, "I'm proud of you, and I believe God is really going to use you, as the new senior pastor. But," she said, "I really do believe that the most important thing that you'll do is what we're doing as a family by welcoming children into our home." And that's paraphrasing, but it was, yeah. It and I do believe that. I believe the role I get to serve in our church is important and valuable. But I really hold that posture that what my wife Hillary and I and our 4 biological children are called to do in the context of the privacy of our home, I really believe will be our greatest impact for the Lord long term because of how it's shaping our biological children in these young years. Because they were ages 3 to 10 when we started. They're now 7 to 14. And it's just been amazing to see how it's shaping their lives through the highs and lows that Jamie eloquently described a little while ago. So,
Very good. Thank you for sharing that. You want this? You want to go ahead and get
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. So good. So, Josh, I'm going to stay with you.
Sure.
Can you give some specific ways that your church is supporting foster, adoptive, vulnerable families and others? Just some of the specifics you're doing.
Sure. So our tagline for our ministry is "Together we can foster West Virginia." And after Lynn came, we were put in touch with a woman named Leslie Reese, who's also been at the summit. And she encouraged us to make sure that we're thinking of the whole church. So not just those who are called to foster, able to foster, but everybody. So I think what's helped us is we use the language of pray, give, and act. And so it's already been said today, but we really do build the whole thing on prayer, and that's something everyone can do. Give is financially to fund the ministry, and then taking action would either be volunteering to serve a family through a care community or to actually take the step to foster. So that's kind of the framework, and I love it because it just provides a lot of different ways that people can be involved. Specifically, we do care communities, and those are very effective. Our family receives meals on Wednesdays and those types of things. It's great. We do quarterly events for those families. So we've gone to WVU basketball games as a group. We've rented a local swimming pool, like a Chuck E. Cheese type environment. Those are really neat. Our foster team does like baskets a few times a year. So like there was a fall themed basket with like a s'mores kit and cider packets. So just different touches that way. And then the last thing I'll mention, because I can't share it all, is we've really been working to try to strengthen and support the agency CPS in our local community. So I think it was last week our team went and just delivered pepperoni rolls to the various agencies and groups just as a touch and a thank you. So those types of things have really been fruitful.
One of our conversational cohorts at lunch will be the folks that are leading your ministry with a local CPS representative talking about how they work together. So take a look at those. Matt, we just saw the Dollar Club video. You all are very creative in what you do. Tell us a little bit about what goes on here at River Ridge with supporting families.
Yeah, so starting with the Dollar Club video that you saw. So we have a thing that's not related to foster care at all that we do once a month between River Ridge Charleston, River Ridge Tays Valley, and we bless different organizations. And it's usually, an organization where we give them a check or an individual who's going through a rough time and we give them a check to help out. But we just kind of had this idea, like, let's spend that, I don't know, ended up being like $3,000 or $4,000 and do something. And it was just super awesome. And I got to be a part of it. You got the Chick-fil-A cow and, but
Not the limo, the cow.
The cow.
That was what impressed you.
It's true. It's funny. We let the kids pick the playlist in the limo, and we're about a mile down the road, and we're like, "Nah, it's a bad choice." Bunch of high school kids. What are they listening to? But what was really interesting about that is we had a plan. We're like, let's do dinner. Let's go to Sky Zone. Let's go to Chick-fil-A. What do you think? And I was talking to Brittany, who is on staff at the Davis Shelter, and I said, what do you think about that? And she said, you know what those kids would really love is new shoes. Because they get moved around and they come and they don't have the ability to buy $100 pairs of shoes, right? They get hand-me-downs from whoever it is, and it was one of those things, and I share that because one of the things I think that has made River Ridge successful, and Josh would echo this as well, is asking questions, how can we help? And not coming with a pre-described agenda like, we need to fix y'all kind of thing. And we just come in with that open thing. But that, so the kids from the Davis Shelter, each week, there's, maybe 2 to 5 or 6 of those kids that come. The staff worker brings them. It's right, you all passed it right on the way here. Watching that video, anyway, I can hear the voices because I know them. Anyway, of those 10 kids, we baptized 2 of them right here at River Ridge. So,
So good.
It's just unbelievable to see that. So, but what we do is probably the main thing that we do, is so we do the care communities as well, and we call it Lamplighters here, and it really is this. When somebody steps up and say, hey, we're going to foster, we have these communities of about 4 to 6 people, and we say, okay, this is your care community, and this is your Lamplighters team is what we call it. And so we were, this is the value of those that don't foster to be champions. And so this is no joke. So we had 2 kids that we were praying about taking. So you get the call, you want these kids, I think they're 9 and 7 and so forth. Their older daughter was actually in that video. She was at the shelter. And we're praying about, do we want it? And we knew that Holly Hoover, who's one of our team leads, she didn't have a family assigned that she was caring for. And we're like, let's say yes, because we want her to be our team. Because she's an amazing cook. And anyway, so she does a great job.
I'm seeing a theme. Chick-fil-A, good food.
Yes.
Can I just insert one comment?
Yeah.
So our running joke at home is when children transition to bio or wherever, we like to try to keep that as a secret as long as possible, so the meals keep coming. And they're like, where's so-and-so? They're napping? Anyway, we don't really do that, but we would like to do that.
So, and I don't know if you remember the band that was up here, but the high school student that was playing guitar, so his family, his mom is Holly, and she, and then the guy playing bass is Russ Richardson, and their family is on our Lamplighters team. So, but we really did say yes to these two kids, timing-wise more than anything else, because we wanted like that Lamplighters team to take care of us. And they just do a phenomenal job. All of our teams do a great job. But we got these two kids, Hunter and Willow. I think it was January 5th of 2023, and Hunter is he's all boy, loves to play basketball, and we have a basketball hoop on our driveway. But our driveway is kind of covered with trees. It's real shaded, and so there's moss growing there. And anyway, Holly says, "What do you need?" And I'm like, "We could really use this moss, somebody to power wash this from our driveway." And so she goes, "My husband will do it." And so, and that Sunday afternoon, Keith is there with a power washer, and it's a cold. I mean, it's like 40 degrees and rainy, which is awful weather, And he's out there power washing the driveway so that Hunter can play basketball, And it's one of those things like I could have done that and borrowed a power washer and stuff like that. But, I think I was inside watching football with Hunter, which is, it's a little bit, and Stacy was like, "Should you go help him?" I'm like, "No, he's having fun out there." But it is, and I'm not, anyway. So here's the thing.
You're doing great.
You can correct me if this is bad stuff, but anyway, but here's the thing is like, he's doing it, and Stacy's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, yes, he loves doing it because he's doing that and he doesn't have to foster kids, because that's a lot easier than fostering kids. And understand like the light that's meant in, but people want to help, but not everybody wants to, put a kid to bed at 8 o'clock every night, or change diapers, or whatever the things are that go along with it. And so anyway, that's a huge part, how we've been blessed by having a team around us. So,
Well, I saw that video we just watched on social media, and I was blown away when I saw it. I'm like, man, how can we get a stretch limo? But really what I think Matt's describing, and I've seen this with he and Stacy, River Ridge, and then through our families and volunteers up in Morgantown, it's a perspective and a heart of rolling out the red carpet for these children and teens. And what I'm about to say, please take with a grain of salt, but I feel very strongly that when that 12-year-old girl shows up with jeans that are ripped and a backpack that's falling apart, I want her to have a new pair of jeans and a new backpack. I remember a child who came to us, and he did not shy away from the fact that he did not have a bed where he was, slept on the floor. And the church, got us the bed that we needed quickly. And I knew of a dentist in our church who God has blessed financially, who gives faithfully to the foster account. It's restricted, so it can only be used for those purposes. And I remember a conversation to say, you and your family purchased a child's first bed. And that's just our perspective. And I have nothing against used. I grew up poor, so most of my upbringing was used clothes and hand-me-downs. I used to think that was actually ham-be-downs, like H-A-M, ham. It's not ham-be-downs, it's hand-me-downs. But so whether it's an event, a basket, pepperoni rolls that are being delivered, a child's crib, bed, backpack, we really just believe that they are worthy of our very best. And that might not mean new, and it might not mean the best basketball game, but that's the mindset we bring. And when I saw the limo, it's like you didn't have to do the limo, but you did, because many of these children have never had an experience like that. They've always had the ham, H-A-N-D, the hand-me-downs. And that's just that we push our community in that way, that we want to give them the very best because they're made in the image of God, and they are worthy of everything that we can do for them with the time we have to serve them.
So good. 1 minute each. We'll start with you, Matt.
Come on, Greg.
Yeah, 1 minute each.
The clock says 17 more minutes. Is that wrong?
We got other folks up here, too. We'll give you 2 minutes each. Start with you, Matt. Someone's starting. We've got churches here. Someone's just getting started thinking about this. What do they do?
Yeah, so I would say this. If you're here and you're thinking about starting this at your church, or maybe you're an agency worker and you want your church to get behind this, I would say probably 2 things. One is start with what you have. Like, look around and say, where can you grow with what you have? Because it sometimes can be disheartening. You look like, we can't even put it together, a video, all that kind of stuff. Like, just start with what you have, and whatever that is. You got one foster family in your home or one adopted kid or whatever it is, to start with what you have. And then the other is you as an individual have to have a mentality of, I'll go first. I'll go first. And that doesn't mean that you have to foster, but it does mean that you got to set the pace and say, I will be the lead of the Lamplighters team that does this. I will bring food to this family every week. I will care for this kid on a weekly basis. One real quick story. We had a kid named Tristan in the fall, another kid named Tristan in the spring. So we call him Tristan number 1 and Tristan number 2. But Tristan number 2, he was a tough kid, like really, really tough kid. And he just needed kind of a release. And he needed someone to be his friend that wasn't going to also tell him to take out the trash and clear his dinner and all that kind of stuff. And so our friend Betsy came over once a week in the spring. She rolled all the windows down on her car, and they played heavy metal music and drove around Charleston. And he needed that. And so, anyway, you go first. Don't have to do that, but you go first.
So good.
It's awesome, man. I'm normally a crier too, but I'm trying to keep it together. So the question is, if we're looking to get started.
You're just getting started. You're a pastor. You're someone from a church. You're going, how do we get started here?
So this will be specifically through the lens of ministry. Quick show of hands, you're in church ministry, pastors, church leaders, just so I kind of know. Okay. So I'm kind of talking to you directly. I think what helped us from the gate was taking that position of humility. And I remember we started with the families from our church. How can we help? And then we started with the local agencies, DHHR, CPS, and just, we're here to serve. How can we help? I would say if you haven't yet jumped in, that's a great place, because you're not going to be duplicating efforts. You're not going to be coming in with a perceived agenda. I think that posture goes a long way. Secondly, for me, I don't view what I'm doing within the context of my home as the work of a pastor. It's just Josh and his family stepping into this. What I find very helpful is looking for ways to keep the why in front of me. So I'm just going to show you a quick example. So the older children, we have a growth chart in our home, and then we hang their pictures on our walls. We stamp their hands. We put it in paint, and then we put it on there so we can always have their handprint. The littler ones, we typically do. Can you hold that folder for me? So this is the most recent child that we had in our home. He's since transitioned to his paternal grandfather. It's going really well. This was our first experience actually bringing a child home from the hospital. Whole different story. But I keep this directly across from my desk in my office so that, and I have other knickknacks like this from the children we've had. So I'm writing a sermon, I'm in a meeting, whatever it is, I like to keep these types of things in front of me because it reminds me of them and keeps them close in my heart, but also keeps me focused as a pastor that this is a priority for us as a church. Our worship services are a priority, our children's ministries are a priority, our missions, those things are a priority, but foster adoptive kinship care is at the top with those things. So these types of things really help me. And just one last story and I'll stop. So this little fella transitioned to PAP on a Monday. We did our goodbyes, and if you've experienced that, you know what that's like. I go to work Tuesday at my own church. I'm in my office, brought this with me. I get a text from one of our staff and said, you might want to come to the lobby. There's a special visitor. I didn't know what they were talking about. That baby 2.5 months old, who had been reunified to PAP, had his first bio-supervised visit with mom and dad at our church, because we've opened our doors to agencies and CPS. The car seat was turned towards the worker, spun the car seat around. He lights up, starts wiggling, and they're like, "Do you want to get him out?" And I'm like, "Yes, I want to get him out." So it's just those types of things. Just keeping the vision in front of you, never forgetting, and and just making sure you take the posture of, we're here to serve. We're not here to we have no agenda. We're just here to help and play our part. So, yeah.
So good. So you wrapped up with something else your church is doing, which you all have open space. Churches have space that's not used during the week, and visitation space is very often needed in different communities. So there was something else you said, so I'm going to volunteer you all for something. Sorry about that. You mentioned Leslie Reese right at the beginning. You reached out to Leslie Reese, who ran one of these ministries at a church somewhere else, actually in Georgia. You reached out and said, "Your church is doing this well. Can you help us?" We know some people whose churches are doing this very well, so if you want to pick brains, these guys are here all day. The other thing is, a little self-promotion, sorry. Chestnut Mountain Village does work with both your churches, and we help provide tools and guidance and those things, and just our team meets with their teams on a regular basis. So if you don't know where to start, that's why we're here. That's what we do. Very good.
And Greg, you didn't pay me to say this, but we're 4.5 years in-ish. We still couldn't do it without you. I mean, your support.
Thank you.
The whole team, I mean, we rely heavily, and
Thank you.
We're grateful, truly.
And actually, I want to say one more thing. One of the things that made us as a church kind of formalize what we did is a statistic that Greg shared with me. And if I mess it up, 87% of statistics are made up. So, but when people start doing foster care, 50% of them don't make it to the 1-year mark because it's hard. But if you have a care community around you, 90% of families make it past the first year. And for me, that was like, that lit a fire in me. I'm like, okay, we're doing this. Because that, and just statistically, our church has done very well with people staying in because they're surrounded. So you guys were super helpful with putting that vision in front of us.
Thank you.
We would have been done after our first placement if it wasn't for the church and the support. We really would have. So yeah, completely agree. Yeah.
Thank you all. We're gonna do one more thing before you guys jump off of here. We are trying, as you can tell, to introduce our team. A little bit of the other folks that work with Chestnut Mountain Village as the day goes on. Something new we're doing only in a few places in West Virginia to get churches engaged a little more in a little different way, give a new on-ramp, is called Care Portal. And Jane McCracken is here. She's going to come up and talk for just a few minutes about what are we doing with Care Portal. And then we're going to show a short video of what is Care Portal. Only available in a few places now. Come on up, Jane. And Chestnut Ridge is one of the churches that's engaged with this, so they're kind of leading the way in Mon County. Jane, tell us a little bit about what's going on.